Is there an end to the awakening process? Is there an end to spirituality? Generally speaking, the answer is no. Here's what I mean by that. When there's a lot of mental seeking, distraction, avoidant patterns in the mind, and avoidant patterns surrounding the emotion body, a very common mental pacifier is imagining a time when you won't have to worry about any of this. You won't have to face the pain constantly, the struggle, the confusion, the disorientation. The problem with this is that imagining, even if it's non-specific and doesn't have a clear image or picture of what that would actually look like, is itself the escape mechanism. It's enough of a belief to get a toehold of the seeking ego in so that it can start to imagine futures where things are better, start to contemplate which practices are required to get there, and then imagine different scenarios, remember different experiences, and then try to imagine how to get back to those. But all of that grows out of this belief that there's some end point, there's an arrival point. And in this way of thinking, it's definitely not true. The whole sense of being someone who needs relief and is going to find that relief in the future and is at one place in time now and will be at a different place or set of circumstances in the future is itself what's causing the suffering. And it will go away. Or it will be seen to be a collection of thoughts and a collection of reactions to those thoughts. Once that's clarified, there's no sense of trying to get anywhere. It's a moot point about have I arrived? Will I arrive? Even will things deepen or clarify? These don't really make a lot of sense because there's no one who needs that to happen for them to feel better. That's the fundamental illusion. And it's very hard to imagine this because with that, the mind imagines things like you don't feel any pain anymore. But that's not true either. There can easily be a perception of pain. In a sense, there can even be a perception of dislike. For instance, you might taste something that is just distasteful versus something that tastes good. But the key difference is there's no one that has to react to that. There's no one for whom that matters. It's just a momentary experience, and it doesn't relate to any need for escape, improvement, getting somewhere, dissolving something, including preferences. So it's very hard for the mind to imagine how this is, but it's quite true that at some point, the sense of being the one moving through time to get to a better place, which actually is underpinned by the sense of being someone who needs relief. That's really the key. The sense of needing relief. The sense of needing something to change for relief to occur, for peace to occur. And this was there before you started even thinking in spiritual terms. It's just that the relief was sought through more conventional means. Day-to-day seeking pleasure, seeking security, validation, etc. When we talk about realization, what we ultimately mean is realizing that the need for relief, respite, to find a final resting place where you always feel good is illusory. And all of the outgrowths of that are also illusory, like a self that's separate from everything, that has agency, that can act upon its environment. It's an illusion. This isn't even saying that the body is an illusion or not an illusion. It's the identification with the body and the identification with the mind. That's the illusion, and it's a big one. You can't really know how big of an illusion it is until it's gone. And even then, of course, it's not you that knows, but it becomes pretty obvious because things look so different. But again, paradoxical. So very much different, very much the same. The underlying point, though, is pretty easy to comprehend, and that is imagining a time when things are going to feel better. It's fine if that happens. It's a thought arising now, but that's really not what realization's about. It's not about coming to a final place. It's not about being done. It's about getting to a place where you don't care about being done. It doesn't matter. Processes and your concern for processes only relate to the self-centered, egoic movement that's causing all the suffering in the first place. So when there's no sense of separate self or no sense of self, processes can go all over the place in every direction, but there's just no buy-in. It's just an enjoyment of vivid experience. But it doesn't matter what happens. Life, death, improvement, dysfunction, integration, disintegration. These are all natural movements. So hopefully that gives you a sense of how to rest in the lack of a need to rest anywhere. Rest in the lack of a need to grasp anything, to find a final position, even to find relief. The ultimate relief is when you stop trying to find relief. Because you see that relief was a dream. And it cohabitates with the sense of being somebody that needs relief. Dreaming of relief just makes you feel worse because it reinforces the sense of somebody who needs relief. What would reality look like if there was no need for relief and no one seeking it? That's a good place to look.